our love. You've given me all these things. You brought to life all my dreams. Oh, baby. Warm, sweet loving, warm, sweet loving, touching, feeling, sweet Navajo loving, strong passion, your strong passion of all men, man of all men. Oh, baby, my sweet baby, there will never be an end to our love. You've given me all these things. You brought to life.
Yadat A, Navajo Nation. This is your Navajo Nation President, Dr. Boo Nygren. Yahan, Kadini Delish. Arohada o Kisigido, the Shilino, Don Juno, Hilnada Huidne, Din Jido, the Mogo, I say Yegon Juno, Hot O Hilnada Huidne, Hodoya, Winter Rock, Arizona, Sabagan Hot Zanda Are Hanen Kitch Ashley, Dia Hodoyat, Eto, Sashi, how one need it, see the Osando, she been in Nashida, Yada hot, Hegida, Yat Eto Lake Winzonshi, a cat do lake, see Yego, Shilindo. Yada Higging, a cat do lake. Hot Edolish. Hello. Sorry, I think the audio went out on that one. So I was probably lip syncing in front of you guys. So again, a cat. I know one of the things that upcoming holidays or appreciation days, it's the winter solstice. It's the time of the year. It's actually today. Today marks the first day of winter in the northern hemisphere. It's going to have the fewest hours of sunlight. So if you got a lot of work outside, you got to work real fast the rest of the day. So again, it's winter solstice, but good thing is you can't know what you're seeing. Diego, do jingo Diego, yat etoles so she hot etoles again. Yadat etoles ado. Again, this is something that's been observed for a long time. Then another fun fact too is if you go outside right at noon, or right now, an hour ago, you would have stood outside and you could have seen your shadow. This would have been the longest shadow of the year. So, but we missed it, but you can still go out and test it out, but it's okay. So Merry Christmas to you all. I know this is the time that our families continue to think about the spirit of giving and making sure that we're out there, to making sure that we think about one another. And that's what's exciting about Christmas. It's a time when we might not have a lot of money, might not have a lot of resources. So during the holiday season and Christmas on Monday, or you might be having Christmas Saturday night, Sunday, or Monday, whenever it may be, don't just the thought of somebody thinking about you. That's what should be very important, because there might be a pair of socks or a towel or a washcloth, whatever is given to you. Just know that it's in the spirit of thinking about you. And that's what should be the most important part of Christmas, is the spirit of giving and the spirit of making sure that we're thinking for one another. And the other thing I think about too is if you don't have any money, or you can't even afford a washcloth or a towel, but you're physically able, one of the things I do suggest is maybe, write a little letter to a loved one or a friend or a cousin and say, you know what, I will pick up trash around your house for 1 hour. Anytime you let me know, I'm going to get it done, or I'll let me clean out your garage, or let me get some of the tumbleweeds out of the way for about an hour, whatever it may be. That doesn't cost a lot of money, but if you're physically able to do that, you should send a Christmas gift like that. Or because I thought, and also let me know too if you actually do it, because I love to see some photos that say, you know what, I want somebody to say, this is the best Christmas gift ever. I got 1 hour of taking tumbleweeds down, or 1 hour of collecting things and reorganizing in my house, and they'll probably be super appreciative. Diego. Biga hata shine eten Diego. I've been seen it on the shin hoto a cars do was the shin Diego. The never style lido de los shin so. Horoshin ben kisna hodeshne. Again, Christmas was declared an official holiday June 26, 1870 in the United States. So and also another thing is about 25 to 30 million Christmas trees are sold in the United States every single year. And also on Monday will be my birthday too, so I will officially be turning 37 years young. So it'll be exciting. It's been a good year. It's been a lot of successful things that have been happening, and I look forward to January 9th too. So that's going to be the inaugural annual State of the Nation. So if you're able and you want to be in the Winter Rock area on Tuesday, January 9th, come on out. We're going to list out everything we got accomplished the very first year. There's a lot of firsts that has happened, but it is through you and your support that we're getting a lot of things accomplished. And definitely January 9th is going to come very soon. It's only a couple of weeks away. You're invited. Some other local announcements. Today's the last day of the Peacemaking Summit happening at the Navajo Nation Museum. The peacemakers will be discussing the importance of Diné language, fundamental value, and the Navajo twin story. And our peacemakers will discuss the differences between traditional peacemaking versus modern psychosocial therapy. So again, a lot of different methods of peacemaking. So if you're in the area, it's going to be there till 5 o'clock. So if you want to make your way, you're more than welcome to go down there. The other one, every week, I've been very consistent since we started doing the weekly updates, is making sure that we report on missing Navajo people. And it's always sad and heartbreaking to read these names, but it's one of those things where a lot of you really appreciate it, because we're actually through these messages, whether it's through social media or it's through the radio, well, people are being located and found. So 16-year-old Jordan Grubber was last seen Tohatchi High School on December 7th. He was traveling back and forth in a black four-door sedan. And if you've seen him, Crown Point Police is 505-786-2050. 41-year-old Aaron Ron Stevens, last seen Monday, December 18th in Saley, Arizona, around 3 a.m. walking from his residence. He's 5'9", 180 pounds, and he's diabetic, and he's got a scar on his left leg to his lower back. So if you see of his whereabouts, his family, his relatives are looking for him. So call Chinle Police Department, 928-674-2111. And some of the people that have been found is Leon Mike Thomas has been located as of December 19th. Jalissa Robertson has been located, and she is safe as of December 9. Again, a lot of those come from you all. You make the phone call, you call a relative or a friend, or if you've seen this person, it all makes a difference. So I really appreciate your help and your support helping the Navajo Nation Public Safety Department. What is happening in the universe? And so NASA's tech demo streams first video from deep space, and from 19 million miles away, they were able to send a high definition video back to Earth. And it took, I believe it took 101 seconds to hit the Earth, and it's sending about 267 megabytes per second, and it's using the flight laser transceiver. Again, this is one of those things where NASA and technology is constantly developing, and the things that were used and developed 20 years ago are some of the things that we're finally using now, or 10 years ago. So it's always good to have our scientists, our engineers, always trying to figure out what is the latest and the greatest technology, so that even like this, this was probably technology that stems from scientists that were 30, 40 years ago that I'm able to communicate to you through a phone, through audio, through visual. So it's always exciting to see that. And one of the teams and universities that's leading this effort is Arizona State University, and it's called the Psych Mission. So again, it's exciting to know that our own university within the Four Corners is helping with that as well. Volcano erupts in Iceland, and I think you've seen that all over the news, is to see this volcano erupt, and it's the fourth one in 2 years. So again, this area, if you live in Iceland, I think that it's normal for them. So they get a lot of lava, and they get a lot of, it's icy and snowy most of the year. So again, just kind of what's happening in the universe as well too. So again, there's in Iceland sits between two tectonic plates, which are divided by an undersea mountain chain that oozes molten hot rock. So I think it's just that area that's really specified in there. This time in history, radium was discovered by Marine and Pierre Curie. If you've ever taken a science class, you probably know the measurement of Curie. And so I think that in December 21st, 1898, that's when they discovered an element called radium. And also, Miss Curie has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize twice for her discoveries and her efforts. So I think that something to think about this time in history. And those of you who might know the Gangnam Style was the first video 11 years ago on December 21st, 2012, to hit 1 billion views. I can't believe that was 11 years ago. So some of you probably know that song and you know all the moves, but that was 11 years ago, 1 billion views. And moving on, Navajo life lesson. Your hair is connected to your mind, so take care of it. Some of the lessons we think about is we think about our relatives and things. Hey, hajonit si in le arot ote choshe. I think some of the reasons behind that are elders and our parents. They knew that our hair is connected to our heads, and our thoughts are connected to our heads, and decisions are being made, and which is really critical. So let's continue to remain neat, keep our hair neat and fixed, so that our minds can be orderly and our thoughts can continue to flow in a good way. Navajo life lesson. This week's accomplishments, there's been some of the things that we've been working on. One of the things I've really tried to focus my Navajo Nation veterans team on is perfecting their process, meaning like let's make sure we've got a really good standardized process to where when our veterans come in, you've got a really good to-do list so that you're not wasting anybody's time. And that's one of those things within the past couple of days, they've really tried to perfect that. So that when veterans come in and they're really trying to make sure they're working on these things, so they're getting those things done. So again, the standard operating procedures that are being developed and what to do and what not to do. And this is the reason why you're probably not going to get a check out of OOC or the finance department because you forgot this specific data. So things like that, like your addresses, people's addresses are always changing. And so that means you need an updated address, you need an updated W-9, and sometimes the application has been submitted. By the time it hits our system, information is not lining up. So we really try to work within our teams internally and just not, it's easy to point the finger and get mad and upset, but one of the things I've really tasked my team is to make sure, let's find out what the issue is, because there's many avenues of why it's slowing it down. So we're really trying to keep our teams solution driven. And I just want to say thank you to Navajo Nation Veterans Administration and Navajo Nation Office of the Controller for really working with our system. And this is the first time we're coming up with solutions. This administration is always very solution oriented. So that's what we've been doing, whether it's OOC, whether it's another department, really just trying to standardize everything so that regardless of who's looking at documents, then at least we know the steps that need to happen. And fun fact for you all that think about the Navajo Nation Veteran Administration, for one employee, they deal with about 300 veterans, 300 clients. And we've tried to make a big effort to try to hire more staff, but sometimes staff, they really don't want to be disrespected, yelled at, and talked down to, and that's been some of the troublesome of trying to hire some people to work within the Veterans Administration. Is like a lot of the people say, I don't know if I can handle people coming in yelling at me and making me feel like I'm this small and things like that. So again, I advise some of you that if you do come in and you're distressed and all those things, just think about the person sitting on the other side of the seat. They're human. They're a human being, and the way to motivate people in this day and age is not the same way it was 20 years ago, where you can yell at them and threaten them and do all sorts of things, and just kind of like how we take care of our kids. It's a whole different way of raising our kids so that they can be successful into the future. So I think about that, and then I know that Office of the Controller is also looking to find additional staff that can really help with some of the documents and check processing too as well. So if you've got people that want to work in the Veterans Administration and the Office of the Controller, bring their resume, bring their letter of interest. I might actually just go down there with them so that they can get hired, because we want people that want to work here. But at the same time, ask the public and the people asking for those services to just be a little bit respectful, because it's hard to find people sometimes. So, but if you're that person that wants to come out here and work with us, we'll be more than happy to welcome you with open arms. Navajo Nation Department of Health meets with Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System Administration, Access. So we had a meeting this past week. Access Director Kim Russell and Access Director, they met and really trying to refine ways to really try to figure out how can we continue to include updates on traditional healing waivers, health and housing waivers, non-emergency medical transport, eligibility for Navajos for access. And one of the things that they came out of those meetings is they're going to start meeting quarterly. So it's going to be exciting. The next meeting is going to be in March. And then the second Veterans Housing Recipient Subrecipient Agreement was signed. And this is going through the 164 process to really try to help Southwest Indian Foundation to move on their projects, because the goal of getting 40 Navajo veterans homes built this coming year is a tremendous goal that we have. Because as I've told you in the past, they might have built 8 or 10 homes in the past 10 years, but we've started on 10 this year alone, and next year we're going to continue to build on top of that. I have a personal goal of maybe 50 to 100 homes next year, and we'll continue to work that up. So we're very ambitious. I just want you to know that, and I'm not trying to be naive, because I truly believe that we've got the capacity, we've got the dollars, we've got the wherewithal. We just got to align the people in the right direction and really motivate them in the right way, so that we can get a lot of these big projects that I've set out to get done for our people. Other major projects, as I mentioned earlier, is that our Veterans Administration, really trying to make sure that we're team oriented, whether you're a veteran asking for services, whether you're a Navajo Nation Veterans Department or a Navajo Office of the Controller, really coming together to make sure that we're team oriented and solution oriented. And so they've had a couple of meetings, and they're really trying to streamline that so that we can continue to provide the best, quickest possible way of serving our veterans. Because I know sometimes it's like, I got to put our veterans first, and then people in social services, our elderly payments to the side. And so it's really hard when we're trying to pick and choose. But what I want to do is continue to make sure that we're helping all of them at the same time. So that's building our capacity. So I'm looking forward to people wanting to come work for the Navajo Nation. That comes from making sure that the work environment is good, making sure that there's resources that are available for the regular full-time status Navajo employees. The other thing that there's an accomplishment too is we kickstarted the Chinle Airport reconstruction. I know that's been in the works for this entire year, so we finally started it, and it's going to be completed next September. And airports are very important, because if an accident happens or a life-saving situation does happen, we've got to have reliable airports so that an airplane can land there, can pick up our loved one and transport them down either to Phoenix, Albuquerque, Salt Lake, or even, you never know, Las Vegas, wherever they can get life-saving treatment. So that's going to be exciting to see that completed and updated. And then when we actually have dignitaries and leaders from all over the world that want to come see us and meet with us, airports is usually the first thing that they always look at. Because I know everyone's always asking, when are you going to invite President Biden or United States President to the Navajo Nation? Bill Clinton was the last one to come here. It all depends on airports Air Force One just can't land anywhere. Air Force One's got certain requirements and things like that that the runways have to happen, and a lot of things happen like that. So we're trying to build our capacities and our abilities. So maybe in the future that does happen. And then Division of Public Safety promotes within. Very happy to hear about this. Is that we promoted one of our very own firefighters to be the fire chief, a Marine. He's worked as 24 years experience in the Navajo Fire Department, promoted on December 18th to be a fire chief. His name is Captain Williams. Congratulations to you and your family. Enjoy your Christmas, and thank you for stepping up to the plate to be the fire chief. And also, Lieutenant Roy Atsidi was promoted to commander in the Navajo Nation Police Department. He's going to be leading our efforts for the emergency management as we prepare for the winter snowstorms. I know last year was tough when all the storms hit in January and February, and so we're really looking forward to the commander at City to really prepare ourselves to make sure that we're ready to go when some of these storms hit. Meet and greets. I was out in Operation Rainbow Bridge Summit out in Chinle, Arizona, at our very first sober living facility on the Navajo Nation. I know that people have talked about this for years and years and years, and we got one open here in Chinle 7 weeks ago. I'm very happy, very proud of Division of Health, Division of Social Services, everybody involved, because sometimes you can make bold statements and you come a little short. And this time we've got one in Chinle. It's got the capacity to help 10 of our relatives with sober and drug addiction. So that's a first. And people are fact checking this, but I know that there's 22 tribes in 23 tribes in New Mexico, 22 in Arizona, 8 in Utah. You combine all of them, I believe we're the only tribal nation to have our own sober and drug addiction treatment center. And so that's something to be very proud of. And we look forward to building more of them closer to home, because I know sometimes sending our relatives down in Phoenix and to be exploited, kind of like why I established Operation Rainbow Bridge, was to make sure that our people that are being taken advantage of and people are trying to make money off of them, we bring some of those types of treatment services back home so that we can take care of them on our own. So again, that's a big goal that we accomplished within the first year. So that was a good one. And so looking forward to building many, many more. So again, thank you to Operation Rainbow Bridge. We had all the stakeholders from the state, the federal level. They were all there. You had my Attorney General, Ethel Branch. Kim Russell was there. Department of Health, Division of Social Services, and Public Safety was there. Deputy Chief was there as well. And even Senator Hatafli was there in this. And then from the Navajo Nation Council, Sherilyn Yazzie, Honorable Simonson, Honorable Shauna Claw, Honorable Dr. Andy Nez, and Speaker Curley were all in attendance, because this is what's important, making sure that the safety and well-being of our people are taken serious. So thank you for all those who attended. Even the Access Director was there as well. So again, thank you for that. The other people we met with this week is Representative Patty Lundstrom, who's a champion for us in the New Mexico side, and really tried to give her our priorities. And my priorities are aligning with the Navajo Nation Council as well. And just backing up my statements of working with council, you know what I mean? All of us face the same problems, whether you're in the legislative branch, executive branch. Our constituents look to us to try to solve basic issues as well. So we've really put our priorities together and try to have one voice, so that when Patty Lundstrom, representative, goes to the state of New Mexico to ask for funds, we're all aligned. So thank you, Patty Lundstrom, representative, for being here with us. And we also had the New Mexico Attorney General, Raul Torres, come out and meet with my Department of Justice, AG Branch, and AG Torres as well. And we discussed many things, from MMIW to state legislations that affect the Navajo Nation, and how do we continue to collaborate and make things as we continue to move forward as well. And then especially when it comes to Yazzie Martinez court case, to make sure how can we start implementing so we can start taking advantage of some of the dollars that are available out there, so that we can really do that as well. So thank you to AG Torres for coming out to Navajo. And also we had Social Services Winter Symposium out in Flagstaff. We had well over about 400 of our social services workers out there, really trying to make sure that they recharge, they re-educate, and they come back together and really make 2024 a successful year. So thank you to Director Cody, Deputy Director Marlinda, and all the staff at Division of Social Services for making myself look really good. So I appreciate each and every one of you on a day-to-day basis, and it was good to break some bread with you over there. And then NTU graduation happened on Friday. I gave a speech there and basically told them, you know what, I'm a believer in education. Continue to find jobs, prepare yourselves, because you never know when opportunity is going to knock, and keep going forward. And thank you to Dr. Andy Nez and Casey Johnson, who joined myself along with Dr. Elmer Guy into you for a wonderful, wonderful commencement as well. And then OPVP Christmas parade and tree lighting ceremony. That was another success last Thursday. We had hundreds of people. I think we served over 1,000 people that day and gave them hot chocolate. We had all the division directors. The whole Veterans Park was lit up with division director trees, and it was an exciting thing to see. And we actually had an ice skating rink there, and families were very happy. We had lots of little babies, the little children, moms, grandpas, everybody came out, and all the Veterans Park. And you can come out here and see it as yourself as well. It's lit up and every night. So again, come on by and bring your families, take some pictures as well. And then yesterday we had an essential worker appreciation day. It was my way of telling all the essential workers, public safety, first responder, transit drivers, our janitors, our maintenance workers, that I care about you. And we had a little luncheon for them. So we served them a roast beef meal, a packaged dinner meal as well. And then also we really tried to make sure that we gave them a turkey so that they can enjoy the holidays as well. And this also included the Office of the Controller staff, because everything that we want to try to get accomplished, we got to make sure that the Office of the Controller and his staff are very happy that we were thinking about them. And so again, just thank you to the central staff as well. Upcoming events is an easy one. Coming to a close here. Christmas, don't forget, Monday. Be with your family and your friends. And Merry Christmas. And thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. This is your Navajo Nation president. I really appreciate everything that I do for you on a day-to-day basis, and every single day. Yego do naso ol tato khalet ola de nebiyan do kas khalet ola khajot de nebaka do what ere pedin shkal ehot oshiba khod nosin ebedole. And Merry Christmas, and see you very soon next Thursday. Hagone.
Hey, good afternoon, Navajo Nation. Yacht. Hey, this is your controller, Sean McCabe. Thank you for having me today. I apologize for my voice. Came down with a pretty bad flu, and still kind of fighting it. But so if I cough during this presentation, please forgive me, but I'll try to keep it at a minimum. Anyway, Yacht. Shaked Doshadne Sean McCabe Yinishye. Touch it Nibash's chin. And I'm just thankful to be here to speak to you for a few minutes today, give you all a little bit of an update of what the Office of the Controller has been up to. First, want to thank, just because it's kind of winding down the calendar year, I want to thank Shinata Boo Nygren, President Nygren, my brother, for the opportunity to be here with his team. I came on right around the beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May, and just real thankful to be here and help the people and bring my expertise to the people and really help where I can. So I appreciate him and his team, and Shinata, my Madam Vice President, Rochelle Montoya as well, as well as my oversight at the Navajo Nation Council, Speaker Curley, and of course all of the team members at OPVP. Things are happening, and frankly, as I'm learning, really the ins and outs of what happens at OOC, in order to move the needle, it really takes an entire team effort. And I do believe we're really starting to move some needles, and some processes to make things better. I know, just kind of listening into the president's message earlier, the veterans issues. I want to assure everybody listening who's part of the veterans and part of the veterans families that, it's not the goal of OOC to put unnecessary delays on anything. I think the Navajo people needs to understand that there's a process. There's a process that we've designed for ourselves that, I got to be honest with everybody, just doesn't work. And it results in these slow payments and these slow processes. And so what we're doing and continuing to do is break down those processes and make it a lot easier for ourselves to get money flowing. And it goes for all of our programs at Navajo. It's not just the veterans. It's all of our programs, whether they're federally funded or funded by the general fund. We face challenges that are internally designed. And one of the things I really would like to report is that in the last few weeks, my office has been working closely with members of the administration, including DOJ, to revisit these processes. We have a red line draft changes to the procurement process to make that much faster. Actually, we're going to be relooking at the 164 process. I think in particular for the ARPA money, because that's another process that tends to slow things down and can be streamlined. As I think we all know, there's been some news reports lately about some of the things that may have happened. And we're taking another hard look at some of our processes in the P card department, as well as the travel. And all of this is for the benefit of two benefits. One, just to make things faster, to get things flowing, and also to really promote transparency and accountability. I think some of the processes in the past, accountability and transparency maybe weren't at the forefront of the design of the process. And I think we're really starting to work to change that, so that Navajo money, the money that belongs to the Navajo Nation, is distributed as quickly as possible when and where it's needed, but then also is accounted for and it's transparent. And we're working on several initiatives to bring some technology for reporting, so that there can be more public reporting on particularly ARPA expenditures, so that people can log into a website and see exactly what's going on, who's spending what, how they're being spent, etc. We feel like this is an important tool to not only be transparent, but also as an internal control, so that we can see also internally in real time, where monies are being spent, so we can react quickly to any issues that we might foresee. And a part of that takes some technology changes, which we're working on now. I'm also happy to report that I've had several meetings in the past, basically 6 weeks, month and a half, with the Department of the Treasury. The Department of the Treasury has released what they call an interim final rule on the ARPA funds. And there's some pretty advantageous provisions within the new rule that will allow Navajo Nation to potentially retain hundreds of millions of dollars that we may not have been able to utilize in the time frame that ARPA has set about, which is we have to have all excuse me, per ARPA, we have to have all federal funds expended through that were ARPA funded by December 31st, 2026, which puts some of the longer term projects in ARPA in jeopardy. But in conversations with Department of Treasury and leadership at a Nabikieta committee work session a couple weeks ago, we're starting to potentially put together a plan that will allow Navajo to retain hundreds of millions of dollars of that money that gives the Navajo Nation flexibility and time. It brings the money out of the time and use restrictions that ARPA puts on it and allows Navajo to reimburse the general fund for governmental services. And so we're devising a plan that hopefully, if we design it right and the council agrees upon, it'll be a plan that sets up monies that the Navajo Nation could leverage and turn into hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars or $1 billion to then turn around and do projects with. These plans are in the very preliminary stage, but they've been collaborated with DOJ, Office of Legislative Counsel at the council level, and members of the Nabakieta Committee, as well as members of Budget and Finance Committee, and members of OPVP. So long story short, we're working on a plan to utilize the Navajo money in the best way possible to really get a more enhanced future for the money that we could use for ARPA and the projects that were laid out. Part of that plan will require amendments to the ARPA legislation, which was drawn up about 2 years ago. And my message to the Nabakieta committee a couple weeks ago was, we drew this up 2 years ago when we had the luxury of time and money. And now we have the luxury of the money, but we're starting to run out of time. And so part of the ARPA legislation revisions that council will consider spell out streamlined processes again to start moving the money faster. And the main focus is to get money to the chapters, the chapter allocations for their plans. And we're starting to see some of that move through what we're calling subrecipient agreements and other vehicles so that chapters get the money that they were allocated for ARPA. So it's our goal in the coming months to really start pushing that money out. We all know it's needed out there. And we're breaking down the unnecessary barriers that are preventing that money from getting out to you. So hang tight, and we're definitely working to get the monies distributed to be put to use. And that goes for, as President mentioned earlier, the veterans and also the housing initiatives. I think one of the biggest themes that I've heard throughout the administration since I've been here is housing. And I know it's a priority shared by the council. So we're doing what we can to try and get those initiatives started and completed as quickly as we can. As President said, construction has started on some already, and steps are being made to continue to increase that output as far as housing production. And we're very happy to support that effort. Other than that, I think I'm running out of time, but my revenue projections for the 2025 budget will be coming out in just about 90 days, sometime the end of March. And we'll be starting the budget process all over again. Quick last few things. Our 2023 audit is underway. We just started it. I did have preliminary conversations with our auditor. Sounds like we're going to save some money on the audit this year just from negotiations that I've made with them and our consultants. Just saving the Navajo people money where we can. So with that, I just want to thank again all of you. Thank you, Mr. President, the council, my teammates at OPVP, everyone in the office there, and of course the Department of Justice and Madam AG and her shop and the Justice Department under Madam Chief Justice. Thank you all. Have a very, very happy holiday. Merry Christmas, Yat E Kishmish to all of you, and a Happy New Year. And look forward to good things. Yeah, thank you.
eastern sky as I'm standing on this reservation road. Been looking forward to this day, but now it wants wrong. This road takes me back to my baby's house. Reservation road, take me home, carry me onward, back to her. Reservation road, take me home,
Only one time did it ever go
carry
perfect.
me onward, back.
Good afternoon. Yat Arnold for Konda Huis Ado. Facebook Live da Isenolts Agi Kodo. The Office of the Navajo Nation President do Hashin Son Lo Kodo. Nijahananas Si Sheya Sarah Slim Yinshiedo. I'm the Executive Director for the Navajo Hopi Land Commission. Okonshik da Huis Ago. Da Isenolts Agi Yat Nikidini Dol Lech Adon da Diche Gonet. Da na dilji shigi honda disk aso da halyashik edo kodo from the Office of the President and from the Office of the Navajo Hopi Land Commission. Merry Christmas and enjoy a prosperous New Year. I'm just going to give an update on behalf of the Office of the Navajo Nation. Navajo Hopi Land Commission. We've been working along with the Navajo Hopi Land Commission. There's 9 commission members that we've been working with. And so one of the first things that they asked of us was to develop to ensure that we were developing a good working relation. So Hashin Sonlo in the month of November, at the end of November and the first part of December, we went ahead and scheduled a 2-day work session. And within that work session, we went ahead and invited the attorneys that represent the Navajo Nation, Office of the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, to provide a high-level summation of all the legal updates that needed to be provided to the 9 commissioners. So we had a good work session in Flagstaff for 2 days where we really engaged the commission members on projects that are ongoing. And so that was very successful. And then going on to the ARPA funds, our office has been allocated $15.5 million, of which 14 million is allocated for modular homes to be purchased. And those and the recipients certainly will be from the beneficiaries that are from like NPL, Bennett Freeze, and also the relocatees. And 1.5 of that 14.5 was a contract that's given to building communities, and that's specifically for the contract, and the legislation's intent is for the contract to carry out the modular home site selection on behalf of Nahat Atzil governance in the Sanders region. So that project is coming right along, and they're certainly looking at, I believe the only setback is currently they're looking at trying to secure the commercial site lease, and that's how far the project is. And with respect to other projects, our office has been working directly with the 9 former Bennett Freeze chapters, where 3.6 million of the escrow funds were given out to the certified and non-certified chapters. So I have been going out visiting with the various chapters in Western Navajo to ensure to just follow up on where the chapters are with respect to with their escrow funds. And one of the challenges that's coming out of those discussions is that a lot of the chapters, they need help. They certainly need help with labor dollars. So, and that's something that our office is looking at, in addition to all of the we went and looked in our files, and it looks like we have something like 300 beneficiaries that have come through our office seeking resources. They're looking for home repairs. So what our office is doing is we're putting together a supplemental request that we're very hopeful that we're going to get support from the Navajo Nation Council. E kutao e kashin sonlo e nan nishkodo e de enigi e ya bahashne ado Kaya Hashin Son Leda Navajo Hopi Land Commission Dayisni. And one of the ongoing project that we're currently looking at is also the Bistai Solar Energy Storage Project. So they're going to come back and do a full presentation to the commission. And also they came out during the 2-day work session to provide a high-level update back to the commissioners as well. So that's another project that we'll be looking forward in the near future. And our office and also the Navajo Nation is currently addressing the Navajo technical amendments too at the national level. So, and that's where their strategy that's being implemented. So those are just ongoing advocacy that's happening at the national level. And we're also looking at a congressional site visit that's going to happen most likely after the first part of January of 2024. And the other thing too is we have like chapters that are coming to our chapter, and we've been engaging with these chapters, and what they're looking for is also housing repairs. And we're moving right along, working with the chapters and identifying what type of needs the chapters are looking at. So we're working on that as well. And we've also met with a couple of relocating constituents from the Whippoorwill region. And so those are going to be ongoing projects that our office is looking at. So Nahat Atzil too, we've been working closely with Nahat Atzil through the contractor, Brian Cole, and to ensure that we're moving the ARPA project forward. The Ranger Surface Use Agreement, I thought that's something that we've been working with, where this project involves Ranger LLC. They're looking at drilling 9 additional sites within the Nahat Atzil region. So we've been working with ONER as well as our attorneys from the Navajo Department of Justice to ensure that there's certain language that are included to kind of foster along what the president was requesting for, is to ensure that a lot of the resources that's going to be realized is going directly to the permit holders within that region. So, and that's something that's ongoing. And I believe this week we finally are in the development stages of finalizing the agreement to be executed on behalf of the Navajo Nation. So that's just a little update on behalf of the surface use agreement. And also as far as the Navajo partitioned land, yesterday my office went out and met over at the Hard Rock chapter, and we provided, one of the things that we've been looking at was to see if we could reinstitute and revive the voices of the people. And that's an organization that was at one time incorporated. So we're also looking to revive the organization so they can begin to work closely with the Hopi tribe. And so those are some of the initiatives that we've been working on, and also working to foster along the second generation's advocacy. And the other thing too is a lot of resources that our constituents are looking for. I know that our office has been working on finalizing the Dene Relocation Manual, which we're going to be presenting at one of the upcoming Navajo Hopi Land Commission meetings. I know that the commission has scheduled 2 meetings, but because they didn't meet quorum, we haven't been really able to meet this month. So that policy is pending. So that's going to allow for a lot of resources. The application, those that are looking for home repairs, and I think some of those resources can be allocated too from the Dene relocation funds once those policies are executed and approved. And Navajo, the Office of the Navajo Hopi Land Commission, do update the kun so e shahan ho lo do he. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, te are ich ko asene. She ko Tony Skolans in she ko don late in Saho liede on a sha Big Mountain. And I'm told in the end Lithuanian touching a pashin thunder she. And I want to thank Sarah and Sean and the president who have gone before me. Kodo I saba Jensen kodo President Bandel Shigido Bildash Nishigi ni I sadi na Nishbiltan Ledo so the yan an show the do a na Nishas Zolda na Nishinta so the Yegon laid and Nahach is Adon hinant Adan Lini the yan hata all the a koho Abe and Nasha Eba Henitz Joe. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And there's a lot going on in the Division of Economic Development. We did some reports this weekend. We did a report at Northern Agency. My staff from Shiprock, Henry Silentman and his staff, they gave a in-depth report, and then I did personally the report at Western Agency for the projects in Western Navajo. And I know one of the the big concerns is like the state of power plants and coal mines, and just what's going on with that. And again, that was really the a lot of those impacts are really felt in Western Navajo. So a lot of the talk I gave there was about what we're doing about it. What are the how much can these projects create in revenue? I mean, there's a concern that with at some point the Four Corners power plant will close, and there's a massive revenue loss. Yeah, although there's a massive loss of even jobs. I know in Western Navajo at Navajo Generating Station, there was a loss of 700 plus jobs that included the power plant and the coal mine, and significant revenue to the nation, significant tax streams. And so, and I really reassured the group there, like these projects in totality that we're working on are going to more than surpass that. And the thing that we need from our side, all the real tool is diligence and putting the effort and the smart work into the leases, into creating the partnerships, into finding the right partners, into structuring the right financing for projects, and really negotiating strong long-term leases, long-term revenue sharing. So I highlighted a couple of the projects. Starting off with right at NGS, where we gave them a highlight of Zini Homes, and there's almost 90 workers now there. They're all Navajo. A lot of them have were workers at the power plant there when it was operating. So and Zini is a really strong company. A couple of things. We just entered into a lease with them this summer. In July, President Nygren signed a 25-year lease with an option to renew with them. And then we also really requested their ownership that they do in the future, that we joint venture with them. And it's really important that that discussion, that's really new, that kind of thinking, is that sometimes in the leases and the taxes, it's not enough, and the real opportunity, especially if you can really study a company and look at the emerging potential. And what these guys are doing at Zuni is they're representing Zen, yeah, the Zen space, the homes are creating Zen in our Hogan way, but they're small homes and they're premium. We've looked at their operations, their manufacturing facility, and their premium homes. So we really wanted to develop a model like that for our people. Yeah. And so that's something that's happening. There's a joint venture coming together. There's expansion plans, and so I talked about that. And the other thing that we're working on there at NGS property, a couple of things is looking at building a bathroom manufacturing facility, because there's a lot of bathrooms that are being done. President talked about his bathroom initiatives, his 1,000 home initiatives, but we need places to actually build some of these things to fast track it. And so, the concern from the construction workers is that we're making a hole into grandma's home, and they're being exposed to cold weather during the winter time or hot weather during the summertime. And it shouldn't, really the hole in the wall should only be like a day, you know. So that's really what we're really trying to make sure that the exposure is a lot less. And so we're working with a Navajo entrepreneur to build a modular bathroom manufacturing facility there also. The other part is that we want to use a lot of those assets. So we're talking to Zini to expand there. We're looking at even things like this is, where energy happened. 4,000 acres is being turned back to Navajo, and there's a lot of potential there. We kept a lot of the assets, so we're working with the communities. This weekend there was a resolution passed. 4 of the chapters have come together that they have a railroad. The old Black Mesa Railroad ran through their communities, and they want to look at diversification of economics around that. So we're working with them. They want to do like a trail system along the way with campground areas. We're looking at ways to really develop a world class battery powered rail system. So we're actually been talking to some Navajo entrepreneurs with their engineers, their designers, about how we could do that in a really cost effective way. There are ways. I mean, these guys have already done their research on this property. So we talked about that area, and then Antelope Point. Obviously, we did a settlement this year too. And we were able to get a back due rent from the marina operator, Antelope Point Holdings. But now we're in discussions. Right now in some of these projects, like Antelope is just an example. It pays more in state taxes than it does back to Navajo. So we got to change that. So those are part of the process that we're heavily involved in right now. I sit in a room like this with a bunch of park system employees, a bunch of attorneys from both sides, and we're looking at co-management of the things. We want to actually make sure that anything that's sold in on the lake, or in the marina project, that the taxes come to Navajo, the revenues from that come to Navajo. So those are some of the really in-depth conversations we're having on that. I talked about Horseshoe Bend. We're doing a major development there with a group of Navajo entrepreneurs, a world-class resort with retail, with multiple hotels, lots of opportunities. At full build out, that project alone will have 1,400 jobs. It'll create just lease and tax revenue to the nation. Our anticipation is about $15 million a year. So again, you're talking about that $40 million number. We just made a big dent in that. We are doing due diligence. This is something that both Mike Halona and I work together on. Mike is with Natural Resources. We're doing due diligence now. This started as of a week ago. We're doing our 60-day due diligence on the Goulding's Lodge purchase. Again, over 300 rooms total. The revenue split is, in the due diligence, we look at everything from the financials, the sales data, just the year to year performance of the project. We also look at the assets, the everything, the plumbing systems, the electrical systems, the structural, all the pieces, and what we're able to do is decide if it's a wise investment, and we can go back and make decisions, make changes, figure out remedy. So we have 60 days to do that. And at that point, if we decide to move forward, we have an operator. Our Navajo Hospitality Enterprise will be operating it. But we have clauses in there. Again, we're really being intelligent about this. We have a revenue sharing agreement. You know, sometimes the enterprises, they get bashed for not giving enough back to the nation. So we structured in the future, this is how we're going to do it, is that we structured revenue sharing. So there's a split of half the revenues come back to the nation. The anticipated amount is close to $4 million coming back to the nation in taxes and lease payments. The other part is it says the jobs, all those jobs there, they stay Navajo. We want to expand the airport, make it where like passenger jets can land there. So this really starts adding value to the nation. So I really gave those highlights. I talked a lot about some of the work we're doing around Flagstaff and Twin Arrows. Again, there's a lot of this that sometimes I know the nation gets bashed because it's like you're not sharing everything. There's stuff we can't share, and I really Nick yeah is obahazo khatan his seed obahazo. Everybody's looking at us, all these border towns, and they're wondering what are they doing? What are they doing with that land? Why are they buying that? What are they planning there? And it's really we have to be really smart about it, and really we really but I just reassured the group, and as I reassure you here, is that so that yego hajo ban sike so that yego hajo ben de nesto the ba the needs to we really want to maximize the potential and the revenue. We want to do things in new ways, and so we're doing that. And I talked about ARPA. We're about to relaunch the ARPA. I mean, there was $16 million that the contract ran out on. We're looking at relaunching that in January. And again, a lot of those will go first 250 are people that were approved that just the project ran out, you know. So we want to hit those. There's that's 5,000 to 60,000. We're also working on a larger amount. This is something that has to get approved by the council. But a lot of our business people, they make over 3 million a year. Some of our entrepreneurs, we all know them. They run multiple companies, and a lot of them didn't get any help at all, and they're hurting now. A lot that 2 year shutdown really has affected a lot of our business people, even to this day. So I talked a lot about that. And we're also about to launch the Small Business Credit Initiative, the SSBCI. There's 30 million that's coming to the nation. 7 million we're gonna work with our partner, our partner organizations, Change Labs out of Tuba City, and so they're going to be giving out loan different types. There's two types of loan products: loan participation, loan guarantee. It'll really make a dent in interest rates. It'll really make a dent in lending on business to businesses on Navajo land. But the division is also working with other banks, other partners. We really are going to unveil a robust program. You'll be hearing about it. We're going to be out in the community sharing all this. Yeah, Kodo, Thomas Cody, my brother, he really goes out and does these like around the housing financial assistance. That model is the same model we're going to use in reaching out to the communities. And so we're really excited, and it's really an honor. Again, kodo, happy holidays to all of you. So the Diego, ni masando, ni chedo, ni naladat, ni mayajadat, ni hitadat, ni hidanat, take care of them, take care of your elders. Always remember that we're very special than any Tlini. We still have our language. This language has survived thousands and thousands of years. We have our prayers. We have our sheep. We have this ancient knowledge. And all that is the Diego and the Nachalchen do ni has tuida ni han hold no ako ni hit sort of zinfon here hold no do ni hin da hold no ko eyes ba here the needs, and let's be grateful to eben yekdo be this. So that's really how I'll end it. And kodo Diego da ya to George and da do ni sa case and hits is the other that done or you ko you that nil gas ni yan heka da ba khaton and do kodo nin sakki ski to ha joba da ya do ni a kui to hil khada and jagado hat so doesn't hollo o isn't no ho ha jo do a let lo shil chida do agents no da kan jilo so ya ko ba hani is to help others, to give a gift, to help an elder, to help a child. Chish da ishi, anything you can do, even a visit with an elder. And that's really what this time of year represents, is ko ha to ko the never is a question lena art at the nachwasn. I could kodo be ha sido korea kodo and his now neto happy holidays.